So I am here on the 4th of November. I can't believe it's the 4th of November. I'm officially another year older than when I last spoke to you, Clayton. So I need these products even more than normal. First of all, before we dig in, how are you doing and how's everything going for you?
You can see I'm pulling my hair out. Things are great. I can't complain. It's, I guess it's kind of like being in the eye of a hurricane, to where, it's everything around what we're doing is calm because of how, what, and why we're doing things. But the rest of the world is just experiencing, chaos. And in so many different ways. All the COVID stuff, people are worried about getting, having issues with vaccinosis, and the concerns that people have. But if you move towards the center, and I think that's a key thing in all aspects of life, if you find the center and you become more balanced and you start to do things that are intentional in their design, then you really don't have much to worry about. And that's, we've known this all along. All right. It's kind of like what we've talked about a lot of, knowing if you have the right intention, if you have the purpose, and if you have a biotech savant, that is put here to heal people, because that's Christina's purpose, that if you follow suit with that, everything's going to be just fine. And we're seeing it. So it's a fun time.
It certainly is. And I think, at the moment you've hit the nail on the head, where there's so many external influences hitting everyone, and there's so much information from mainstream, from alternative channels, to bumping into the neighbors and speaking to them, to schools, to everything. People are bombarded with so much information. It's completely overwhelming. Plus, they've got things going on in their financial life, possibly with their jobs, worried about children, and also making the right decisions.
Yeah.
So there's so much we can talk about today. But in terms of it, you talk about, staying on center and staying on point. You've launched this whole new company of these amazing products, which have been in the pipeline, sort of in your minds and your hearts, and with all the experience you've built up for a long while. It's proof, isn't it, Clayton, that when you are really on purpose, you can make things happen regardless of the external circumstances.
It's really, I think it's really a part of walking with purpose and your intention. I live by a creed that's pretty simple, and it's 3 letters, WTH. And people go, what the hell? I'm like, no, it's walk, teach, heal. And because I think principally, depending upon, what spiritual base you have, what I'm not big on organized religion. I think it's a construct to control people, and it's really, really effective. But if you look at the teachings of what Christianity looks like, of acting Christ-like, those are the 3 things that he did. And when and the key to this is figuring out how that construct works for you, because each of us is given different gifts. We are each unique, right? And that when you figure out what your purpose is, what your mission is, what drives you, what motivates you, and how you were put here to benefit humanity. And I think that's what's really, really crucial, is each one of us has such a tremendous gift to provide the community and those around us, that when you figure that out and then you start to walk that path, eventually you're going to get to the place where you go, aha, this is why I'm here. And I will tell you that, in a 16-year journey, there's been many points where you stop and you look down and you go, why am I having to endure this? But it's only as you continue to walk and you get to turn around and look back and you go, that's why I went through these things, because I thought this was going to be my end, and it was a lesson. It wasn't the finish line. So, I have, what my walk is, my purpose, and, figuring out what I'm really here for. And a big part of that was serving my wife. right? I had to go through a lot of stuff to get there and go, here she is. Now you're ready for her and she's ready for you. And now, once we were brought together, her journey, my journey, bringing that all together, and over the last 6 years of figuring out, okay, this is what she's put here for. How can we do that? And now that she's created a vast amount of formulas and products, but starting with the Trinity, with Clean Slate, Zero In, and Restore, when we had the samples and started testing stuff, putting things in place, it was, okay, how do we create a model that fits what our mission and purpose is? Because there hadn't been one before, right? And it took some analysis, and I can honestly say it was 16 to 20 years of experience that I was able to fall back on and say, okay, I understand what Amazon did. I understand how social media has changed our entire construct, that the majority of consumerism is actually done through social media in one way or another. And then also the benefits of the direct sales industry, this concept of not really multi-level marketing, because that's been bastardized so heavily over the last 20 plus years. But the concept that the industry was initially based upon in the 70s of, what I termed was compassionate capitalism. But the social sharing construct, that we are the ones who create value for companies. It is our behavior. And, through our behavior, there are entities that you can say in the metaverse now that have created $1 trillion market valuations off of prostituting our behavior and farming our data and farming our behavior, yet providing us no real value, but never actually putting rewards or money back into those who create value. So if you look at Amazon, you look at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Google, Netflix, all of these companies have value because of us. So it was a matter of saying, okay, if our mission is to serve, right, how are we going to take what Christina is able to create and apply it in a manner that isn't just for our benefit, right? Because you've seen what these products can do. We could do some advertising on social media. I could go raise $30-50 million and say, okay, we're going to spend $20 million in advertising, and we're going to go at this market, this market, this market, this market, and we're going to bring in all this money, and we're going to have an 8x return on 20 million. So we're going to make $160 million, and we're going to wash, rinse, repeat. Honestly, at the end of the day, what good is that? Because we're not really doing anything for people at that point, because people don't just need to get well and become amazing right now. They need means of, one, feeling good, of doing good, and know that they're providing value for others, but then also being rewarded financially for it. Because a lot of people are without incomes, or they're looking on how to replace lost income or lost revenue, or creating new revenue. And we created this social sharing construct for Root, all based on all of that. So create a foundation and a philosophy, much like Amazon did, but reward people for the behavior that created Amazon, which was people creating a free account, having a good experience. They liked buying books initially at a lower price than they'd get at Barnes and Noble, get them quickly because they'd be shipped to their house. And then they started sharing that with their friends. My mom and my grandmother were part of that. I mean, I grew up in Southwest Washington, so we were in the Seattle area when Amazon started. So they were some of the first customers. And I watched, as my mom started shopping online and telling her friends, hey, you got to create an Amazon account. And it goes, boom. And, there was, trillions of dollars in market value that were created from that behavior. Yet, unless you own stock in Amazon, you never received anything for it. So
it's so important, isn't it? I was just sharing with Clayton before we started this video. So my whole career that when I'm working in holistic health with animals and their humans is about providing solutions to people, because there's no point me helping people work out what the root cause is and what's wrong with their animals or themselves if I can't help suggest solutions. So I've been doing this for a long while now. And what I really love, so my whole job is about telling people what works, because for me, my passion, I love researching, and I research from a scientific and an intellectual point of view, but most importantly, I research from a practical point of view. So I try things out, see how they work with myself, with my animals, with other people's. And so for me, what I've been so delighted about is we're in a time now where people are knowing that we've got to do things differently. So sharing things that empower people to take control of their own health, their animals' health, because rather than worrying about what external forces are doing to us with our water, with our air, with our food, with our EMF, let alone any chips that they might or might not be putting in people, what can you actually do to take back control? And I would just like to say the feedback I've had over the last 2 or 3 months from myself and the clients of using these, I have been really gobsmacked, because I'm quite a hard person to please, as Clayton realizes, because I bombard, I want to know everything, and I want to try it and obviously see the results for myself. But what I love about working with animals, we're going to talk about a few animal examples. So some of the feedback I've had from my clients, a lot of my clients at the moment, their animals are suffering with cancer. And people tend to come to me if they've tried everything else and a lot else has failed. And what they're reporting within literally a few days of starting, say, the clean slate, is they're reporting that their animal, and there can't be a placebo effect with an animal, that they've got their zest for life back. They've got their mojo, as I like to say it. Yep. So I'm not making claims that we've had scans yet and saying that the cancer's disappeared, but what they're finding is their energy and their zest for life is noticeably different. And I noticed that with my sort of 15 3/4-year-old dog, who wasn't ill, but has been through a lot in her life. And she's just now bounding up and everything. And even my husband noticed. And we've had horses that have had liver issues, muscle enzymes raised, metabolic issues, that their owners are saying they're going better than before. And even the cats are taking it. Yep. I myself, I mean, I'm very into natural health, but like everyone, I've got bad habits as well. And one of my bad habits is sleep, because I find everything so interesting. If I'm researching something late at night, I forget that I do actually need to have some sleep as well, because I'm just so into it. I keep going, then I realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So I've noticed it's really helped with my gut health as well. I'm going to talk to you in a minute about the 0 in for sleep, because that's something I want some advice on. But what I've also loved is that where my clients can then start sharing their own link, it's not just me that's benefiting, it's them. Because why would I promote something? I only promote things that I really love, but equally, I want everyone down the chain to benefit. And I think for all those people that think I can't afford these solutions that are being offered, here's a chance for you to change things around and do something, you know, that where you directly benefit from sharing something you're passionate about.
Well, and it's to not to cut you off early. If I do, I apologize, but it's a point that's really, really, really important. And it was part of the intention, what we created with the business model. And what you just said is something that we I won't say commonly hear to where it's consistent and it's often, but it's something that comes up in comments from people of, oh, these are expensive, I can't afford them. And the marketing answer is you actually can't afford to not have them. But people have to have money in order to acquire products. Now, as we grow, and this, Christina and I were doing an interview yesterday of, you know, what our real plans are over time, because there are a lot of underserved populations across the world that really, really do need support. But in the model that Root is built upon, the construct that we function in, there's a little secret. And the secret is this: you don't have to have money to create a free account. You don't have to buy anything to be able to share your user code so other people can create accounts and purchase products. And we've seen this numerous times, and it's one of the things that makes me giggle, is having someone that can come and go, I can't afford this stuff. I need it. I can't afford it. But they understand that they have friends or that they are of influence. And this is something that is so important for our psychology. So people can just understand, I am of value. No matter what your demographic situation is, whatever your financial situation is, you are of value. And being able to create a free account, and you can let your friends know, hey, I found this amazing stuff. You got to try this stuff too. And whether you tell them, I haven't ordered it yet because you know me, we're friends. I'm tight on cash right now, but here, you try this stuff. So as they make purchases, you get rewarded. You can get your products for free. We have a bunch of people that are making really good money and getting products, and they've actually never paid for their products before. They've never spent $1, even a penny of their own money, and are getting enough to make grocery payments, credit card payments, car payments, house payments, sometimes all of those payments, and getting their products. And they're like, yeah, I never had to buy a pack. I didn't have to invest any money into this. I was able to create an account. I told my friends, hey, they should try this with me. And we did it. And one of the things that we built into the back office as well, and this is kind of the goal over time, is everybody has a number, right? I mean, there's a level of comfort that we all want to attain, whether it's the things that you own, the place where you live, the vehicles that you drive, the lifestyle that you want to attain, the amount of money in the bank, the savings that you've incurred, your daily or monthly living expenses. And once you have those things, what do you do with what's left over? Well, you do good things with it. So we have the ability built into the Root infrastructure that people can share points with the click of a button. So we have a lot of people that don't take out a lot of money out of their account, but they use it to purchase products, but they'll also send money to other people in the community that maybe they're introducing the product to say, hey, look, I'll send you, 100 points so you can get a bottle of Clean Slate for, without having to pay for it. Or if somebody that, and they're like, hey, I need an extra couple boxes of Restore because of what I'm going through. I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my pets. I need to take care of my kids. And it's going to be more than what I can personally incur. And someone goes, hey, let me send you a couple $100.
Yeah, it's lovely.
All of that's built into the infrastructure. So it is really creating this community, because a community takes care of itself. Right. So that's really the key. And the beautiful part is our community is in over 50 countries. It's over 40,000 people. It's probably bigger than that now, and growing. So that's really it, because social media has brought all of the globe together. And we used to joke about being 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon, right? Now we're 6 degrees from everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what's really unique is, figuring out, okay, we all are really, really close now. And we're at a point in really humanity and history where we need to all come together, because if you bring a bunch of candles together, you can create a bonfire, and then you can really light up the dark. And that was really, really the plan. So the more we do of that, there's no reason that someone can't get their hands on this stuff. We even have a program that, based on case studies, if you submit a case study from someone that maybe has health issues or has some issues that they need to take care of, and that they can't afford it, if you submit those, you can just send them into the support. We pick a couple of those every week, and we send people products. And then, you know, in return, we just want them to track their experience because we can use that for case study data, you know, and show other people, look, this is what we're doing. So it's, yeah, it's fun. And I think
I'm really lucky
the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I'm really lucky because the clients that I work with, they're really good at giving me feedback because they're really tuned in to, you know, they're really at the stage. By the time someone works with me, they're really at the stage where they really want to make change.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really lucky because the people that I work with are just the most phenomenal people to work with, because whether they're working with their animals' health or their own health, and normally it's both, they're ready and they're willing, and therefore they move forward really, really quickly. And that means that I get really good feedback from them as well, because they always really keep me in the loop. And that's invaluable, because I'm certainly not going to keep recommending something if it doesn't work, because that's my reputation on the line as well. So yeah. But also sort of I tune in energetically to their products as well. Now, today, if I can, I want to pick your brains on a couple of issues that I've had a lot of people. I know I love getting it so good when I can pick your brains, because it's a huge brain. So
you can see it with the hair.
I know, look at it. Look at how much that's been growing. And over the week, I swear to God, that's grown an inch. So I've had a lot of questions this week from people about mold and fungus. Now, interestingly, there seems to be a big problem with university students across the globe, either in student housing or university accommodation, that have had mold exposure. So can you just give us a bit of your wisdom about which products can help with that, and why it's so important? Because this can have huge repercussions for people's physical and emotional health, can't it?
What you just hit on is the you can say the soft underbelly of the problem that we're facing right now. And you can say a lot of it is strategic in design, because there are actually two strains of black mold that have been cultured in people that have not been seen before. And, you know, whether it's been aerosol, you know, from above, you know, or things that have been in the environment that because of what's going on, they're starting to explode. But if you understand fungal issues and mold, and you can throw yeast in there with candida and such as well. If you do necropsies on most, you can say, primary causes of death, right? Cancer, heart disease. Cancer is a big one. People don't die from cancer. People die from mold and fungal overgrowth because of a suppressed immune system. Cancer is not something to fear, right? Cancer is just it's like driving a car. Cancer is a warning light that comes on in your car going, you need to check your engine. And it doesn't, and sometimes it comes on yellow, sometimes it comes on red, going, I've been trying to tell you this for a while. You weren't checking your oil. You weren't changing your oil filters. You weren't taking care of me. So now you're going to deal with something major. And the mold and fungal issue is something that is so massive. And the beautiful part of my amazing wife is that she speed reads with an eidetic memory. She was an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins in oncology long, long ago. One of the things she was teaching oncologists was the issues of mold and fungus, because when they were doing autopsies and necropsies, you could open someone up and you just see fungus. I mean, imagine opening up a human and going, oh, wow, it's a fungal fiesta, right? This is the issue. So we built, she designed really specifically Restore. I've got a box. Our little friend, right? This guy as that real foundation. As I knock everything off, as a foundation to deal with mold and fungus, you know, starting in your gut, because it has a major impact on the microbiome, and then go beyond that. And if you look at the ingredients, you know, the black cumin seed oil, and if you go on our YouTube channel, you can probably connect the piece that Christina did on black cumin seed oil and Restore, that's on our YouTube channel. I would drop it down here.
I will.
Where she goes over the mold and fungal issues. And the real cool thing is Restore is something that you can use topically, as well as orally. But also understanding that heavy metals and mold and fungus go hand in hand, because heavy metal toxicity, causes a little bit of acidity in the body, creates chaos, which allows, the mold and fungus to explode. The same thing goes, and this is what's important in today's environment with the vaccinosis issues that people are concerned about, right? You have the nano antennas and what those concerns are, but the big part is the suppression of the immune system. When your immune function drops, that's when mold and fungus can really grow and explode. So what's happening is, through this process of exposure that we're dealing with today, is this cascade of issues that are all hitting at once. And this is strategically designed, right? Because our innate immune system is designed to deal with one issue. Like normally we're exposed to one thing, like a virus, and your body goes, okay, my white cells, my T cells are going to attack that. We're going to kill it because they recognize that it's an invader. We are not made, and I don't think anyone is made, or any system. And you can look at this from a military perspective, like if you're playing Risk, but also from military planning, most times you focus on a primary attack where it is very difficult to deal with multiple engagements.
Yeah.
Our body can't deal with it. If you're dealing with a virus and then you're attacked by another virus, it'll kill you. So, and that's understood, and it's gamified in what we're dealing with today. And if you're already immune suppressed, if you already have multiple comorbidities, right? If you're old and you have issues, this stuff it's strategically designed to take care of the weak and eliminate the weak. And what's crazy is a lot of people that are weak don't comprehend what the weakness really is. Like one of our really close friends, she had someone come into her office. She's an esthetician, came into her office on Friday, got work done. Within an hour, our friend was getting sick because the woman didn't tell her that she'd been just vaccinated. Shedding like crazy, got her sick. She had 101-degree temperature. She's like, oh, this is not good. And you couldn't break it. And so talking through her, and we got it taken care of in about 30 minutes because she slammed some Restore, took some ivermectin and knocked it out in about 30 minutes. No joke. And we're talking through it. She's like, look, I run 6 miles a day. I'm really healthy. I don't have my gallbladder. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. You can't say I'm really healthy. I don't have a gallbladder.
Exactly.
She's like, I always have trouble with my gut. I'm like, yeah, because they took one of the key components away from you that allows this whole system to function properly. You are compromised. You might do everything you can to be healthy right now, but you are compromised. And what this stuff is designed to do is, because of how they constructed this amazing little organism, right? This coronavirus, which is a cold. It's a cold virus. It's a flu virus. It's airborne. And by combining it with some HIV, they combined it with this very intelligent retrovirus. And what HIV does is it just accentuates whatever the weakness is. And the mutation capability of HIV is really unique because it is a very intelligent retrovirus. This stuff will find your weakness and exacerbate and amplify your weaknesses to make you more weak. So other things can kill you. It's like glyphosate, right? Glyphosate doesn't kill weeds. It's not designed to do that. Glyphosate gives plants AIDS. It destroys the immune system of a plant, so the pathogens in the soil actually kill the weeds. Does the same thing in your gut and your microbiome. That's why people are like, well, I'm gluten intolerant. No, you're not gluten intolerant. You're glyphosate poisoned.
Yeah.
So you have this multitude of factors that are much more broad than what people understand. right? You have so many talking heads that are looking at, oh, it's this issue. No, it's not. It's a much bigger game. It is mold. It is fungus. It's yeast. It's viruses. It's heavy metals. It's glyphosate. It is graphene. It's all of these things, but you can't separate them. You can't look. It's the point that I talk about of being in a sandbox, right? And what's happening right now because of people wanting to scare the hell out of people. And even those that are part of the alternative media that are like, oh, this is what's going on. If you notice, very, very few of them, and unless they're working with us, I haven't really seen a lot of them yet. They're starting to move towards this because we're getting in contact with a lot of these major influencers in the space. You notice how everyone's talking about how things are bad and they're getting worse and how bad things are, and no one's talking about here's the solution.
Yeah, although the ones I'm speaking to are talk about the solutions, but you're right, it's so
they're getting to it now, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, okay, great. We know graphene's bad. We know that there's stuff that's been put in there. There's been stuff in us, and it's like, well, why do they hate ivermectin? Why? Because ivermectin's a parasiticide. It kills parasites. Why do we deworm animals? Yet we haven't been deworming people for a long time. You go, a clue.
Exactly.
Right? And these are the things that we have to address. And that's where we sit now, and we're just sitting back and going, yeah, we know. But you don't have to go, it does this and 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 it does this. It's like, no, just use them. They're designed to be used together because our system is not segmented, right? It's our entire operating system, this amazing biological system that we are made in, is not compartmentalized. There is no silver bullet.
Everything is attached to everything else. Everything influences everything else. And then
we're quantum.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you understand that we are the epitome of quantum mechanics, then you understand. Then you can start to get into the point of understanding why we created quantumceuticals. That's what these are. No one's ever done this before. No one's ever, and here's part of it. No one has ever gone to Harvard and been part of the nanotechnology and bioscience engineering program that actually was focused on creating nutraceuticals and doing good. Trust me, I sat in the classes with my wife. It was military, it was biotech, it was research and pharma. And then her. So when you have that, you go, and we know that throughout history, everything that we've needed has always been provided at the right time. We've just needed to figure out how to use it, right? I think it was Og Mandino that said that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
And that's where we sit, right? It's like, okay, yeah, here's the timing. Are these the issues? Yes, these are the issues. Is it mold? Yes. How are we being exposed to it? This. And you go, is it in the ventilation system? I was talking to somebody yesterday. It's like, because I'm working on collaborating with the best air filtration provider I've found. They have a little box that is properly priced for its value, which is one big thing, because companies are selling air filters for like $2,000 to $3,000. I'm like, you're out of your freaking mind. It's a cash grab. That does it. It kills mold. It can take out smoke. I mean, you can have someone that's smoking cigarettes in a room, and in an hour, you can't smell it, and it's no longer there. And because you've got to clean the air, right? We know with animals, especially with indoor air is more toxic than outdoor air, and outdoor air is not very clean. So for us, it's a matter of knowing what we're really good at, and then creating the collaborations, with other organizations, other companies, or figuring out how we can create things on our own that will provide additional value for our community. And in so doing, we're creating value for our community in multiple ways, right? You're getting things that will help create solutions in your life, but you're also able to provide those solutions to others which is then creating more value in your life because you're getting some remuneration for providing that value. So
yeah, win-win. So I think it's so important, isn't it? And I think, you know, it's just people understanding and just sort of this acceptance, which I think we spoke about last time. Yeah, we are exposed to these things, but let's not dwell on the problem. Let's really focus on the solutions. And like we say every single time Clayton and I chat, we say you've got to try it for yourself. You've got to find out how your body reacts. You've got to look at how your animal's bodies react. Try it. But what I find is the more you know, you can have a knowing at different levels. So you can do the intellectual research, the scientific research, and then you can have a knowing at the energetic level as well, in terms of the fact, right, I'm going to be open-minded enough to try something. I'm going to keep some detailed notes. We talked before about keeping video notes and just sort of saying, how do we feel? Because, you know, as I said before, I was told I needed a double hip replacement, and just by alkalizing my diet, I don't have problems with my hips anymore. But I actually forgot I had a hip problem. And then one of my friends, one of my health nut friends that was speaking to, he was like, well, Catherine, well, how are your hips now? And I was like, hips. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I had a hip problem.
it's like, oh yeah, that
completely forgotten about it completely. Now I'm not such a good gymnast anymore as I used to be, but I don't have any pain or problems with my hips. But I'd very quickly forgotten that it was even a problem so bad that they wanted to do a double hip replacement. So I think, you know, with these things, it's like, if you're, you know, the type of person that's going to be watching our videos, it's going to be like, okay, we know there's these issues. What am I going to do about it? And then try these things out and see what you think. So animals, as you know, is my absolute passion. I have been delighted. Have you frozen? Yeah, I'm always talking to myself. Clayton's frozen. I thought he's either frozen or fallen asleep. Hello. That was so funny. That was so funny. I was talking away to myself, and then I thought, you've either fallen asleep or frozen.
yeah, I'm hardwired, right?
Yeah.
And our internet connection still, I've got a gig in the office, and for some reason, if we start getting into fun subjects, it cuts off.
Now I'm hardwired as well, sort of thing. And still
it's always nice to be filtered, you know, or
yeah.
I think our internet and stuff is filtered more than our water. So it's like, all right, this is what it's gonna be.
It's always a way. You can guarantee my Zoom always crashes when I'm having the most interesting interviews. So I just wanted a bit of your experience on the animals, because I have been blown away, having been a herbalist, a zoopharmacognosis, an iridologist, and been in this business a long while. Even I was very, very surprised by how quickly I'm noticing the effects, which is, you know, it's a fact that these toxins are coming into the animal's environment for so many different ways. But give us a couple of the things that have surprised you most about people using your products with their animals.
Well, I think there's a little secret to this. And if you own, let me rephrase that. If you're owned by animals, you know that energetically they are a lot more in tune than we are, right? And, you know, especially if you have horses, because horses are just such amazing spiritual beings. You know, where they came from prior to being in that body is one of the great questions. But getting into the quantum aspect of things is what's really, really crucial, because what you're talking about and what you see in animals is they respond so quickly.
Yeah.
That's not physical. It's energetic. It's electrical, right? And that's the quantum aspect. And we see this in people too. You can't take one drop of something, especially from a detox perspective, and have such profound impact. You go, it was one drop, because it's not just the physical, it is the electrical, it is the energetics, it's the quantum component, you know, of the intention that's put into the products that, you know, really creates that process. But I mean, from an animal standpoint, you know, a lot of what you hit on, watching performance horses that have been put out for retirement, actually, you know, because of injury and such, watching their personalities change and watching them become happy, and instead of being like an arrogant prick, you know, come give their owners hugs and give them love, and you know, and change how they're feeling, how they're functioning, start running better or running at all. You'll find that their coat, whether it's and this doesn't matter on the animal, but you see it a lot in horses, their coat becomes so shiny, so supple. And you see it in humans too. Your hair starts to get softer, more full, grows like crazy. I mean, cataracts, yeah, which is a big thing because the detox triangle is something that's not talked about. But vision, hearing, and erectile function in men, or, you know, sexual function in women, those are the smallest vascularity areas of the body, right? So people think that your hearing and your vision go bad over time because you're getting older. No, it's because you're becoming more toxic, and the buildup of those toxins damages, you know, the smallest areas of vascularity first, and then works its way back. That's why when you look at neuropathy starts at the extensions, fingers, toes, and works its way back. And so if you can start to remove that stuff, you see improvements. If you have, you know, floaters and cloudiness in your eyes and cataracts and macular degeneration, you know, it's more fun to watch it in animals because you can watch their eyes clear up.
Oh, my 16-year-old lab, she's the only animal we've ever had, because all my animals are rescues apart from her. So she's the only animal we've ever known her birthday, and she's going to be 16 on the 9th of December. But she has got about, she had quite a few medical issues because she was born with no tail and her legs too upright. So she's had to have 3 of her 4 legs operated on. She's amazing. But she'd started to get cataracts, and then I changed the diet, and I mean, I'm always very into the diet anyway, but I sort of went virtually all organic as much as I could with her, and that did a step improvement. And then I've had her on the clean slate, and my mum, who came over, who's her favourite person in the first world, looked at her and she was like, Star's eyes are just amazing. There is not a hint of anything in there. It's quite incredible. It really is, actually.
How many drops is she getting?
Well, with her, because she's also got fatty lumps as well. She's had 3 of her 4 legs operated on. I've now gone up to 4 or 5 drops twice a day. Yeah. And she's bounding like a thing. And definitely what I've noticed also, Clayton, is her fascia is looser. And I think that's because I'm pretty sure it's dissolving the fatty lumps, because you know, she's been through a lot, bless her, in her life, and she's had quite a few anesthetics and things like that. So, and she's just doing really, really well. And she had a bilateral TPLO, so she's got no cruciate ligaments or anything, and she's just like amazing. So so I'm bounding a lot more as well. I'm definitely bounding a lot more. Yeah,
that's a lot of the stuff that we continually see with animals, right? Is you hear consistently, and it's like, oh, the dog or cat's got its life back. It's like they're, you know, you have a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, 13, 15-year-old dog going, he's like a puppy again. I'm like, yeah, it happens. It happens in people too, but you know, you hit on one of the key components. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. People don't really start to understand the changes that are taking place because your body doesn't have a memory to bad things, right? We're not born with a backpack. It's only through this toxicity that's in our system that we hold on to a lot of the negative stuff. Okay? And as that starts to come out, then, you know, the regeneration process starts to take place, and there is no memory, you know, and that's why we tell people, look, document, you know, what things have been like for you, you know, and doing videos and photos too, because you will change, you will look younger. And we know biologically, because of proving this with heart rate variability analysis and some other measurements, we know that if you use 2 capsules of 0 in, 10 drops of clean slate, and a sachet of Restore, within 15 to 20 minutes, you are literally biologically younger.
Yeah, please go back to our last
biological age drop by 20 years in 15 minutes. It's
Yeah, we
insane.
covered that. Clayton showed some slides on that with the research was done on that in our last video. So if you go back a couple of weeks and look at the video that we did that's entitled The Pineal Gland, you'll see that. Now, one of the issues I want you to speak about, please, is one of the problems I do have as someone who's working with animals and their humans on a continual basis is in the human psyche. We tend to have this thing that we do something, we notice an improvement, and then we stop taking the substance. Now, obviously, putting a disclaimer out there, it's Clayton's company. I now also promote the product. So if you're a skeptical person watching this, you can say, well, of course, you're proving it. You're promoting that. But my take is what really upsets me is I see people with their own health and their animals' health make amazing leaps forward, and then they think problem's gone and they stop. And obviously the body is continually repairing itself, and if it's exposed to the same toxins, you can make improvements by taking the toxins out of your environment that you can influence, but there's a lot we can't. So how do you tackle that one? I suppose it's people trial and error and seeing when they stop that the problem can come back again.
It's not something that we normally have to deal with, because your body will let you know that it wants what you were doing. And here's the primary mechanism. If you have a toxicity issue, right, which we all do because we're conceived in a toxic soup. We're not conceived in this amazing environment that is completely pristine and clean that we're developed in as babies, and then we get to come out into this great environment. We're polluted from day one. When two egg and sperm come together, chaos ensues. There's great things that happen, but you're bathed in chaos. And knowing that this amazing quantum system has defense mechanisms to store and sequester a lot of these toxins, can be in fat, can be in tissue, can be in organs, can be in bone, can be in your brain, all these different issues. So if you start this process to start cleaning stuff up, and 0N is a great example of this as well from neurotransmission, because people are like, I want to feel good. I'm like, yeah, but if you can feel great, is great better than good? And then when you feel great, do you want to go back to good, or do you want to go back to what was normal? They're like, no. Like, there's your sign. But if we look at clean slate and how it functions, and restore really being the same way, you start this process, you're going to start to feel better. You're going to start to see changes. You might see things go away. But if you stop doing that, your body will always find balance, right? It's going to create homeostasis. So if we just look at, we'll say your bloodstream and, you know, some of your lymph, and you've cleaned those areas up and you stop, your body is going to start pulling toxins and metals and different pollutants out of other areas of sequestration. Could be fat, could be out of bone, could be out of tissue, and pull those back into the areas that you just cleaned up. So where you might have started to feel really good over a little bit of time, when you stop, you'll start to slow down a little bit. You'll feel sluggish. You won't feel good. Some things might come back because your body's letting you know, hey, we're not done yet. Don't stop this. I can't handle this on my own. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And so you see some of that, which is great, you know. And when you look at it from a marketing standpoint, you know, people ask me this, so like with 0N or such, they're like, is this addictive? I'm like, no, it's not. But if you feel and function better than you've ever imagined, is it habit forming? No, but one of the most powerful substances in our body is dopamine, right? That's why cocaine is a hell of a drug. And if you give your body the ability to produce it on demand and as much as you want to provide, is that a bad thing? If it's being done naturally? No. And how often do you want to do it? You're like, well, I would probably want it often. That's your choice. And so you begin to choose, right? We're given free will. I mean, if you have the tools, you know, how long do you want to do it? I mean, you can look at every aspect of history and get an idea for this, right? You give two people a set of tools. You have one person that might go, okay, well, I'm going to make a table. And they go, okay, I'm going to go get some wood. I got some nails. I've got a saw. I'm going to make a table and I have a place to eat. The other guy's going to go, I'm going to build a freaking empire.
Mm.
You go, I'm going to hang out with that dude, right? Same two people, same tools, same opportunity. They just choose differently. And that's just really it, is it's what you want to do with the tools you're given. But what's really unique with Clean Slate, with Restore, and with Zero In, and let me qualify this. I've been in the detox space, with zeolites and such for 16 years. I've been around integrative wellness and nutrition for 40 years, right? I don't look 45, but
I was going to say that.
True.
Yeah.
I've never seen products do what these are doing. I'm a byproduct of them. I've formulated a lot of stuff. I've used a lot of stuff. I started taking mineral supplements and studying mineral supplementation when I was 8 years old, and having conversations at dinner with my mom and my dad about, okay, why is butter important? Why do we need more salt? Why do we have, really good water? What are good foods? Why do we want meat, fat, and vegetables? Because I'm an O blood type, and all of these things. Why are lasers great? Why are magnets great? Why do we use essential oils? Why do we do puppy puncture and acupuncture and all these different things? I grew up with this, right? And through that process, over the last, couple of years, that we've introduced these, but even the 3, 4, 5 years prior, when we were formulating and testing everything, these products are, and especially in conjunction with one another, right? As the Trinity, not just individually, but collectively, they're doing stuff that we've never seen before. And we're seeing the outcomes in people that we've never seen before. We have clinicians that Christina was doing a doctor's call yesterday, and a doctor was asking questions that are biotech questions that we got them in an email, and Christina and I were going over it yesterday morning before she had the call, and we invited the doc on the call because it's just for doctors, right? Healthcare professionals, so they can have a professional only conversation, right? And we're looking at his questions going, we can't answer these, right? He's asking about, detoxification of mitochondria, at a cellular level, and improving cellular function at a level of which we're going, we can't answer that because we're not pharma, we're not a biotech company. And I mean, the level of research it would take to start making those claims is not a cost that we're going to incur. It's not a time frame that we have, because it would take years, of work to do. And we're like, why is he asking this? So we invited him on there. Well, he gets on yesterday, and Christina was giving me the feedback. She's like, he asked the question because he's a doctor. He's doing blood work on his clients and he's seeing it. He's like, I've never seen outcomes like this so quickly. I'm seeing blood work change so quickly, and I'm seeing it in red blood cells, doing live blood cell analysis and dark field microscopy. This is what's happening intracellularly, and we're seeing this. How is this happening? Like, well, we really can't explain the entire mechanism of action, right? Because we're really just getting into understanding the glymphatic system, right? I mean, just scientifically, the glymphatic system is something that was really just discovered over the last, few years. We understand our lymphatic system, but we don't understand the true impact of what our lymphatic system does. And because I honestly think it's been so clogged up for so long intentionally that we haven't been able to have it work the way that it wants to work. I suspect that what we're doing with Clean Slate is we're working through the bloodstream in many aspects, and your blood goes pretty much everywhere. But if you look at lymph, glymph, and blood, you've got everything covered. That's how we're working through everything. And in doing that, and then providing the trace minerals, the key trace minerals, the sea salt that we are made of, that gets delivered at the same time, along with the bioavailable silica, the orthosilicic acid, the silicon dioxide that you see on the label of Clean Slate, that gets delivered, that is the key building block for what we are made of. You start to see regeneration as well as detoxification. Does that happen immediately? No, it happens over time, right? So this is not a process that you do for 7 days, for 30 days. No, this is something that you do until you stop breathing. Because if you do this, if you use these 3, and you can tweak some other stuff, there's a few more things that we have coming. But if you do this for an extended period of time, that point where you stop breathing continues to get pushed out further, and you stay younger, longer. Because the goal is to die old as young as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's honestly what we're doing. And that's, it's not something that you can go, oh, okay, this is a short-term fix. No, this is the long-term solution to what we've craved, which is, ideal longevity and optimal. And when I say optimal, I'm not talking wellness, right? I hate the term wellness. Wellness is just above poor, right? It's like, oh, you're good now. We're not made to be well. We're made to be freaking outstanding. But we haven't been able to tap into that yet. That's where we're going. And, we all get to go on this journey together. Some people have been on this journey a little bit longer than others, but I mean, we're not too far apart, and watching that take place is just amazing.
Yeah. And why I get so excited is I see, because our animals are completely dependent on their parents to take decisions for them, because they can't go out and get this stuff themselves. They can't choose their environment, they can't choose their food, etc. So it sort of pains me when I sort of see people, they're just getting their animals' vibrancy back, and then they decide to stop, and then they go backwards, and they've got to start the problem again. And what I'm saying is, like, if you're seeing something work, stick at it, because you just don't want your poor animals are reliant on you for that. So that's really, really important. So that's, I mean, there's so much good information for people. Again, try these things yourself, ask questions. We've got lots of videos on. I'll put the link to the RootBrand YouTube below. You also do, for people that are involved, you also do some really good weekly calls as well that people can contact me and get details from once you're involved. Is there anything else you wanted to finish off with, Clayton?
It's almost time for a new year and new you, right? I mean, it's amazing that we're now in November. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it.
I mean, people are going to start making New Year's resolutions. And I love that people are like, it's January, let's do something new. No, start now.
Yeah.
Don't wait. I mean, if you want to change your life, do it here first. You have to intend to do it. But as you hit on, just try it. I mean, even for a month, watch what happens. But the continual use. Here's a challenge, and I've got Dory and some of our team that are doing this. You go on our YouTube channel. I think we started putting stuff up in, I think it was February or March, April of 2020 that we really started to load stuff on there. Look at some of the initial videos, but don't look at it for the content. Look at the people. Look at the names of people that are on there, because they're all on Zoom. And then fast forward through our channel and look at the same people and look at what they look like and how they're functioning. And especially the women, right? Because women are more focused on taking care of themselves than men. Because they want to look good, because men are fickle, right? Guys are like, I want wrinkles and gray hair, and women are going, you give me wrinkles and gray hair, I'm out of here, right? And it's interesting because we have women that are like, well, I'm no longer diabetic and I don't have these issues anymore. And, you know, I look 20 to 30 years younger. My hair's growing like crazy. My nails are going nuts. And you go, you know, women actually spend a lot of money for that stuff. And a lot of women will have surgery to get the outcomes that we're creating. You go, well, yeah, that's pretty inexpensive when you really look at it. And I think that's really the big thing. But you won't know this stuff is of any value unless you use it. And here's the caveat. We trust what we're doing so much. We have a 30-day, I think it's 30 days, might be more than that, but a 30-day open container money back guarantee. We know this stuff works, so you can buy it, you can use it. And if it doesn't work for you, send us the stuff back. We'll give you your money back.
Yeah, I can't get much fairer than that.
I guarantee you. I mean, our return rate is less than I think it's 1/10 of 1%. You know, because people don't send this stuff back. The only time that we get returns is because people were having things happen that they didn't have explained, or they didn't understand the process. And that's part of the educational component. That's why I love, you know, hanging out with you. And we have the YouTube channel. I mean, there's 199 videos right now on our YouTube channel, and there's a couple more that I have to post. We're going to crack the 200 mark. But there's over 70 hours of content, you know, on our YouTube channel, that if you went through every video, you'd basically have a PhD in environmental toxicology. You would be able to create and defend, you know, a theory that you could present as a PhD. And in multiple ways. The hard part was, Christina tells me all the time, she's like, you have to get a PhD because people will respect you if you're a doctor. I'm like,
not anymore. I think that's changing now. I think that paradigm is gone.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, people won't respect me if I have a PhD, because they're going to look at my hair and go, no, sorry. But it's one that you just have to experience for yourself. I mean, honestly, and here's how we function. Christina is so uncompromising in quality that if this stuff didn't work, we wouldn't do it, because we would do something better. And that's honestly what you'll see over time is, I mean, it's why Zero In took 3 years to develop, and we tested it for 3 more years. It's why Clean Slate really had been 16 years in its creation, but it took 6 years through this process of us coming together to put things in the way that she wanted it done. It's why Restore was a 5-year process in creating the mechanisms, sourcing the materials, her going back to Harvard to study nanotechnology and bioscience engineering to know how to create nanoemulsions to create what that product is. That the greens that are coming out, I'll drop the hint, is something that she's been designing for a couple of years, but she's very strategic because she speed reads with an eidetic memory. She will consume amounts of data that departments can't do, because she can look at a document. I mean, look at it. We have to read stuff. She can look at it and she knows it, and she has complete recall of it. And
my son's like that as well.
Yeah, and it's not fair. I hate it, because we can go somewhere and she's like, remember we were here last time and we went here and here and here and here and you did this and you ate this and you did that. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, I remember part of that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get away with anything. So, but I mean, she created the greens that they're the most concentrated greens ever. They fit in the palm of my hand for a month's supply. But they cause you to lose weight if you need to lose weight like crazy because of what she added into these greens. And you only need like 1/3 of a teaspoon or a teaspoon a day. It's insane. And you go, okay, you know, what else? The fun part is not looking at just what the Trinity is. The fun part is the Trinity is the foundation, right? What else is coming?
I know, and I've
You
got
know,
a few hints of what's coming, and I'm very, very excited about it. Yeah.
That's what's fun, is sitting down and talking with my wife and going, okay, babe, what else do you have? She's like, well, I'm working on this. I'm like, okay, let's try this and this and this, because I know I'm got ideas on the formulation side as well. So we get to throw ideas back and forth. We look at the market, we look at pharma, we look at biotech, we're looking at the rest of the wellness industry and looking at nutraceuticals and talking to manufacturers and, you know, different ingredients and such, and going, okay, you know, there's these 3 different markets that are selling one ingredient. They sell them for $60 to $70. What happens if we take those 3 markets and we combine them into one product? And what ratios would we want each of these in? And we're playing with it. We've got samples coming, and like, I know what kind of beast this is going to be, and it's never been done before. No one's ever talked about it. And it's the key that what you see in most of the wellness industry is mimicry. You don't see innovation, right? You see companies like, I was at Supply Side West, which is the largest supplement ingredient and manufacturer show here in the United States. I was there in Las Vegas last week. And you know, there was tons of stuff on ashwagandha, right? Because ashwagandha is the buzzword right now. And there was tons of turmeric, because turmeric is the buzzword right now. So you have all these people like, oh, I can just make turmeric supplements. No, what you have to figure out is how to take turmeric, how to find the purest sources of turmeric and the curcuminoids, which are the real powerful part, and how you take those and what you can combine them with to create, you know, much more profound outcomes than just what one single ingredient can do, right? Then you get to have fun. And that's our approach. I mean, you look at Restore, you go, okay, let me pull it. So I'll read it right. Because some of these are terms that most people have heard, and they're like, oh, wow, that was really good. Raspberry ketones boost your metabolism. Companies sell raspberry ketones just alone. They're like, oh, this is a keto product. Okay, one thing. Turmeric root, curcuminoids, 95% pure curcuminoids. Quality. Resveratrol. Hey, ladies, you know what resveratrol is, because you're spending a ton of money to either drink it or put it on your face. I cannot believe how much different topical skincare resveratrol products cost. It's insane. That's why
I'm not one of those women.
Yeah,
Coconut
you can use Restore as a
oil.
facial.
Yeah.
You have the D-ribose, you have apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar is in there because of the gut benefits, but it's also assistive in creating these nano emulsions. Aloe vera, which you've got the aloe plants all around you, and the black cumin seed oil, which is one of the most powerful components out there right now. There's some amazing research, and that's why we can reference the black cumin seed when it comes to fungus, when it comes to mold, when it comes to all the COVID stuff. Black cumin seed oil is published for its ability for wiping out COVID-19 or COVID-21 or COVID-22, whichever year you want to call it.
You want to do, yeah.
But when you look at some of the other ingredients, the organic cane juice, and the polycosanol that's found in that. I mean, there's a company that's just selling a polycosanol extract right now, and people are like, have you heard of polycosanol? I'm like, yeah, it's one of the extra ingredients in Restore. Don't worry about it. It's there. That when you take these individually, you go, oh, wow, it's really valuable. But when you combine them properly and strategically with the right quality and the right amounts, then you get something that's absolutely profound. And that's what's really the key. You've not ever had anything like this before, so the only way to do it is to try it.
Brilliant. Absolutely lovely. Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed that, and that you're feeling sort of quite empowered in, whatever it is that appeals to you. We've just talking through these options because it's what we're really familiar with. But the main message for me is just to take back control of your health for yourself, for the animals in your care, for anyone. Start doing something, take note of the results, and make sure you're doing something positive, not worrying about what you can't do, but taking action on what you can do. Thank you so much for your time again. It's always such fun. I can't believe how quickly it always goes. I've met someone that can talk as much as I can, which is amazing.
Oh no, I got you beat. I can talk.
I think you might have me beat, which is hard pushed, as anyone knows who knows me. But thank you so, so much. And let's hope we can do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Have a great day.